ask you a question?
What do you have? Go ahead. No, that's enough. Go ahead.
Can I ask? But that wasn't my question.
The problem is you don't write the truth. So, as far as I'm concerned, I want to go to the next
Can I ask you a question about...
No, not CNN, please. Go ahead.
The White House has not responded to these
I told you. CNN is fake news. Don't talk to me. Go ahead, please.
But he says he was retaliated against, and that's why he was removed from his job. Do you have a response to that?
Okay, next question.
Mr. President, I have...
To hire a spokesperson just so that Elon Musk doesn't put out tweets that then confuse federal workers.
Are my press briefings not good enough for you, Jackie?
You're going to see some young faces in the next Trump administration. The president-elect announced his press secretary is going to be Karoline Leavitt. She is just 27 years old. She was a press secretary for his campaign. She was a fierce fighter and defender of his, both on the airwaves, going on all the different shows, and behind the scenes working with the press. So no surprise that he picked her. She was also a super young candidate not so long ago. In the 2022 midterms, she ran for Congress in her home state of New Hampshire. She did not succeed and then went on to work for the Trump campaign. And she's part of that new generation that was actually a big reason why Trump won the election. He won the youth vote by a way bigger margin than most Republicans have in recent years. And now he's bringing those new faces into his next administration.
Now, before I take questions, I would like to address an extremely dishonest narrative that we've seen emerging over the past few days. Many outlets in this room have been fear-mongering the American people into believing there is a constitutional crisis taking place here at the White House. I've been hearing those words a lot lately. But in fact, the real constitutional crisis is taking place within our judicial branch, where district court judges in liberal districts across the country are abusing their power to unilaterally block President Trump's basic executive authority. Sure.
So U.S. consumer confidence fell this month the most since August of 2021. What is your message for Americans who are concerned about the impact of things such as tariffs on prices?
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you for that question. It's obviously an important one. The president campaigned on reigniting the Trump economy and fixing the mess that was created by the previous administration in this country, and they must be held accountable.
And something different. There is now a member of the European Parliament from France who does not think the U.S. represents the values of the Statue of Liberty anymore. They want the Statue of Liberty back. So is President Trump going to send the Statue of Liberty back to France?
Absolutely not. And my advice to that unnamed low-level French politician would be to remind them that it's only because of the United States of America that the French are not speaking German right now. So the United States asked that. Mary.
Hey, thanks, Caroline. I wanted to ask about this video that I saw this morning set to the tune of, I believe, Closing Time, about deportations of illegal migrants. What's the strategy behind the White House's videos they've been putting out on this, and can you kind of talk us through the thinking on these videos?
Sure. We are unafraid to message effectively what the president is doing on a daily basis to make our communities safer. And the specific video you referenced, I think it sums up our immigration policy pretty well. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Go ahead. Without his consent or knowledge. And that's not just the president or me raising those questions, Caitlin. According to the New York Post, there are Biden officials from the previous White House who raised those questions and wondered if the president was even consulted about his legally binding signature being signed onto documents. And so I think it's a question that everybody in this room should be looking into, because certainly that would propose perhaps criminal or illegal behavior if staff members were signing the president of the United States autograph without his consent.
Is on the record talking about issuing preemptive pardons to these people.
But was he aware of his signature being used on every single pardon? That's a question you should ask the Biden White House.
Is there any evidence on that he wasn't aware of that?
You're a reporter. You should find. To the woman in the purple, because I saw you were making a face at my previous answer. So what's going on?
Well, actually, I have a couple of questions. At the core of pro-Palestinian protests on college campuses and elsewhere is a demand to end the war in Gaza, a goal that this administration actually supports and has pursued. So why has this not been acknowledged or highlighted even?
Because these colleges in these protests have again put out Hamas propaganda. The only reason Democrats have changed their minds on Tesla is because Elon Musk changed his mind on Donald Trump. That's the bottom line. I know AOC, for instance, used to drive a Tesla. I'm not sure if she still does. If she still does, it's because she knows it's a great American-made product. And that's why President Trump was proud to review some of those models at the White House yesterday. He ultimately went with the red sports model. It's actually sitting at West Exec right here at the White House now. But as you said, the president purchased the Cybertruck for his granddaughter, which is a very nice gesture. He campaigned on no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, no taxes on Social Security benefits. He is committed to all three of those things, and he expects Congress to pass them later this year.
I'm sorry, have you ever paid a tariff? Because I have.
That's
They don't get charged on foreign companies, they get charged on the importers.
And ultimately, when we have fair and balanced trade, which the American people have not seen in decades, as I said at the beginning, revenues will stay here, wages will go up, and our country will be made wealthy again. And I think it's insulting that you are trying to test my knowledge of economics and the decisions that this president has made. I'm now regret giving a question to the Associated Press. Past 4 years, we've seen the Biden administration spend money like drunken sailors. It's a big reason we've had an inflation crisis in this country, and it's incumbent upon this administration to make sure, again, that every penny is being accounted for honestly.
Why impose this pause with so little notice? Why not give organizations more time to plan for the fact that they are about to lose, in some cases, really crucial federal funding, at least for a period of time?
There was notice. It was the executive order that the president signed. There's also a freeze on hiring, as you know, a regulatory freeze, and there's also a freeze on foreign aid. And this is, again, incredibly important to ensure that this administration is taking into consideration how hard the American people are working. And their tax dollars actually matter to this administration. You know, just during this pause, DOGE and OMB have actually found that there was $37 million that was about to go out the door to the World Health Organization, which is an organization, as you all know, that President Trump, with the swipe of his pen in that executive order, is no longer wants the United States to be a part of. So that wouldn't be in line with the president's agenda. DOGE and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that...
Are any officials here preparing to fight Democratic lawmakers in the streets?
Absolutely not.
So some of these,
thanks for the question.
Some elected Democrats are so steamed about Doge. Congresswoman LaMonica McIver says we are at war. Ilhan Omar says we might actually see somebody get killed. And Chris Van Hollen says we have to fight this in the Congress. We have to fight this in the streets. So what now?
And may I just point out, if you heard that type of violent, enticing rhetoric from our side of the aisle, from Republican leaders on Capitol Hill, I think there would be a lot more outrage in this room today. It's unacceptable, the comments that have been made by these Democrat leaders, and frankly, they don't even know what they're talking about. Because President Trump was elected with a mandate from the American people to make this government more efficient. He campaigned across this country with Elon Musk, vowing that Elon was going to head up the Department of Government Efficiency, and the two of them, with a great team around them, were going to look at the receipts of this federal government and ensure it's accountable to American taxpayers. That's all that is happening here, and for Democrat officials to incite violence and encourage Americans to take to the streets is incredibly alarming, and they should be held accountable for that rhetoric.
It sounds like something that they're most concerned about is Doge engineers with access to Treasury systems. Can you clarify? Do the Doge engineers have read-only access in these systems, so they are not allowed to write new code? They are.
Of the 3,500 arrests ICE has made so far since President Trump came back into office, can you just tell us the numbers? How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws, and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are.
You may have point at the worst first. They all have a criminal record.
And welcome to the break.
If they broke our nation's laws, yes, they are criminal. Yes.
Snoop Dogg.
Ah!
don't know why I keep forgetting to adjust my mic. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever this video finds you. Welcome to Tiggs. No, what's going on Sunken? What's going on with the U.S. Treasuries? Because understand, I haven't been on. What's up, baby? I haven't been on for a minute. Y'all saw I didn't do any videos this weekend. We didn't do the Cigar Lounge Monday. I didn't do a video yesterday, which was Tuesday, but I'm back. Because the last video I did, I'm not going to lie, I had a crash out. And and then after that, I had to get my mind right. Because my biggest issue, is that I cannot understand what my biggest problem is that I cannot fix what's wrong with us as Black people. Oh, you say the yield is falling through the floor? Yeah, oh yeah, I'm familiar with that. I get it. That's why Trump put a pause on the tariffs. Put a pause on the tariffs so that way countries can, now that they got a taste of what it could be like, now they can come back to the negotiating table, all right, and then have a fair and balanced tariff. You see that some countries it wasn't 50-50. Some countries was less, okay, because do understand that back when we were first on the tariffs back in the 20s, well, before the 20s, a lot of countries weren't as developed as they are now. It's 2025, not 1920, okay? A lot of countries are developed. A lot of countries are in the manufacturing and importing and exporting. So yes, the tariffs are good, but the thing about it is that because of Bill Clinton and presidents that came after him up until today, was that we let other countries rob us blind. But the reason why that was going on was because the people involved were getting kickbacks. Clinton was getting kickbacks. The Bushes were getting kickbacks. All right. Obama was getting kickbacks. 10% for the big guy. Do you understand? Politicians were ripping us off. They were stealing our taxpayer dollars. But now it's like, plus we were being taxed to death through the IRS while losing manufacturing jobs left, right, and center. Left, right, and center. I mean, look at the job market as it stands right this very second. You understand what's out there? And then you've got all the illegals who have taken up all of the low-paying jobs that, those second jobs that you would normally work. Like I've been working a second job for 20 years from the time I was 27, actually sooner than that. I just didn't take it seriously. So I guess you could say I've been working a second job. Well, let's say I started taking it seriously. I wasn't starting working the second job from 27 to 47. So for 20 years, because after that second time I got evicted, sleeping in the family store up under the production table, where we do I was like, oh, this will never happen again. It'll never happen again. And it never did. It never did. I worked 2 full-time jobs since I was 27 years old, up until I didn't have to do it anymore. Those jobs are gone. Those jobs are gone. They're hard to come by. They're hard to come by. You got all these illegals in the country. That's why you sit up here and you see a Hakeem Jeffries and AOC and them tell half-truths about Social Security and Medicaid. I'm like, excuse me, who the hell do you know that's 120 years old? The only person that's 120 years old in Social Security and Medicaid is somebody committing Social Security and Medicaid fraud, which would be illegals. Once they cut that off, those people are going to be forced to self-deport. They even told them your best bet is to get out of the country now. Because once we cut you off and start working backwards, because we know, trust me, there's this thing going on with Jasmine Crockett where they were saying that she's been cashing her grandmother's Social Security checks since she passed away almost 10 years ago, whatever. Like, I don't know if that's true or not, but I bring it up to say that when somebody dies, you have to self-report. I don't know why people think that's an automatic process. Anybody that's dealt with a family member that's died that was collecting Social Security will tell you, you got to self-report all this stuff. You got to get death certificates from hospitals. You got to present stuff to the funeral home. You got to mail stuff in, fax stuff in. You got to make phone calls. But that death certificate, you need to, nothing happens. Everything keeps rolling until you present that death certificate. You can't claim insurance. They still got to pay the mortgage, bills, still all of that stuff until you present that death certificate. People, that just goes to show how ignorant people are. And this is why I had my meltdown. Is that like, wow, like you people, you're just guessing stuff. You don't know nothing because you've never been through anything. You just guessing. It's like the black kid that killed the white boy. People trying to say it's a case of bullying and all this stuff. Like, they pretty much trying to say, well, he black, so he should be allowed to murder white people. I mean, that's pretty much what people are saying in so many words. And it's like, okay, well, what if that was your son that got stabbed by a white boy? And white people were saying, well, he white, he should kill him. Or better yet, well, you black, you probably deserved it. How would you feel? Like, this had nothing to do with race. This had everything to do with behavior. But, you cannot tell low IQ black people nothing. You just can't. You just can't. It's like you're perpetuating racism. You're perpetuating it. You can't let it go because white people told you so. Most particularly the Democratic Party. But I'm not here to jump on their throat today. Matter of fact, I'm really thinking I thought about this 30 minutes ago, opening up a new channel dedicated to just clowning them. Because in all honesty, what I do on this channel, I just mainly cover the presidency. At any rate, let's get into it. I won't be here too long. This is a short video, 32 minutes. All right, let's get into our sniper attacks. My favorite sniper coming from the perch. What's she talking about? Keep in mind, when I play these videos, I haven't seen them. They're just as fresh. They're fresh to me as I guess they are to you, but they're fresh to me. So let's see what she was talking about yesterday.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are we? Good to see you all. I have a few announcements off the top today. On April 14th, President Trump will welcome President Bukele of El Salvador for an official working visit here at the White House. They will discuss El Salvador's partnership on using their Supermax prison for Tren de Aragua and MS-13 gang members and how El Salvador's cooperation with the United States has become a model for others to work with this administration. On April 17th, President Trump will welcome Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni of Italy for an official working visit at the White House as well. The president's thoughts also remain with the families and communities experiencing devastating loss from the severe storms and flooding affected several states across the central U.S. President Trump approved emergency declarations for Arkansas, Kentucky, and Tennessee, allowing FEMA to provide federal assistance like equipment and resources to support state and local emergency response officials who are leading this response on the ground.
You mean he's not just going to give them $750? All they need is $750. That'd be all right.
Last night, the Supreme Court delivered a massive legal victory to the Trump administration and allowed us to continue removing foreign terrorist invaders under the Alien Enemies Act. This was a smackdown to a rogue left-wing, low-level district court judge who have relentlessly tried to stop President Trump from using his core constitutional powers as head of the executive branch and as commander-in-chief. The highest court in the land made it clear that the President of the United States has the power to protect our homeland and forcibly remove foreign terrorists who pose a grave threat to families and communities. Thank you to the Supreme Court for upholding the rule of law and protecting the Constitution.
Yeah, because I'm not going to do this on every time, Steve, but thing about it is, Trinidad Alagra, as more information has come out. Like, remember we did the video where Maduro said that the Biden administration specifically asked for these people, specifically asked for Trinidad Alagra. Just like with MS-13, and I keep wanting to say Colombia, but it's not San Diego, it's El Salvador. El Salvador. Like, hey, send us your prisoners. Yeah, your regular people can come too, but send us your prisoners. Matter of fact, we'll send you U.S. taxpayer money to your country to divvy up and give to these people to help them reach the border. Same thing happened with I keep wanting to say Argentina, but Venezuela with Maduro. And with Trump, he was trying to make the oil deal with Trump and wanting to take the his criminals back, and he didn't want to do it. So Trump was like, well, then screw you then. I'm cutting you off. And he desperately needs that money. So he snitched. He snitched. Like, yo, he was on live TV talking to his people saying how the Biden administration specifically asked for Trinidad Alagras. They paid them, sent them money to send them there. And now you got that goofy judge listening to the Democrats. Understand something, the Democrats, I mean, think about it. They want to keep pedophiles, murderers, rapists, and all-out criminals in the country because they have the same ideology. They have the same ideology. Just really think about it. They support criminals, they support pedophiles, they support rapists, they support murderers. Why do you think they didn't stand and cheer or clap or show any type of remorse during that State of the Union address when he brought out Lincoln Riley's parents, the girl that got hit in the face with the volleyball by the male that left her permanently damaged? They didn't celebrate the black kid with the brain surgery that wanted to be a cop / law and order. They didn't want the little Jasmine girl that was raped and murdered, for 2 hours under a bridge by two grown men. No telling what the horrific things they did to her before they decided to kill her. 2 hours later. The girl that was her and her friend, the 13-year-old girl and her age-appropriate male friend out in the park in Central Park. The dude, little illegal, pulled a knife on them, tied them up with shoelaces, and the dude, he was trapped while the illegal raped his 13-year-old female friend with him tied up to her in the bushes in Central Park. They want to keep these people here. Due process. Like, you know what? I'm going to camp them out in your house, at your house, and we'll let you can due process them. Better yet, we'll let another judge due process them, so that way it will, no conflict of interest. We'll get another judge to due process them, and we'll do one there every 7 months. How about that? Meanwhile, they have to live with you in all of your residences listed. Since you feel that they're so safe. How about that? Somebody else actually, I was watching the guy this morning. He actually said the same thing I was saying. Move them in with these people since they want to support them so bad. Yeah, but Democrats are no different. They're birds of a feather. But understand the reason why he's getting these people out of here, Trinidad Alagra, not so much that they're criminals, but these people, in all honesty, they're an invading army. Venezuela has no real army to speak of, but if you were to have guerrilla fighters, who would your guerrilla fighters be? They would be your gang members, your Trinidad Alagra. But I digress.
Our message to the monster Trinidad Aragua and MS-13 terrorists still hiding illegally inside our country is clear. Deport yourself now, or you will be locked up and sent back to your home country. On another matter, the historic Liberation Day announcement last week by President Trump made it very clear that the era of economic American economic surrender is over. President Trump is no longer going to allow American workers and companies to be ripped off at the hands of foolish trade practices that shipped away millions of high-paying jobs and hollowed out communities across the country. It's America first, all the way. And despite fear-mongering by the media, the world is clearly responding to President Trump's approach. Just yesterday, President Trump held a bilateral meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu here at the White House. The Prime Minister pledged to immediately eliminate America's trade deficit with Israel and remove their trade barriers. Israel's proactive approach should serve as a model for the rest of the world. Also yesterday, the president spoke with Japan's prime minister, who wants to negotiate as well. The president also spoke with the acting president of South Korea this morning. He has tasked Secretary Bessent and U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer to lead these talks. In total, since the Liberation Day announcement, nearly 70 countries have already reached out to the president to begin a negotiation. Countries are falling over themselves to reform their unfair trade practices and free open their markets to our country. Why? Because these countries greatly respect President Trump and the sheer power of the American market. These countries realize they've gotten filthy rich over the past few decades by imposing substantial tariffs on American-made products and ridiculous non-monetary barriers to block out American industry. The jig is up. Past American presidents sat by and let this happen, but President Trump stood up for our country, and he is saying no more. The president's message has been simple and consistent from the beginning. To countries around the world, bring us your best offers, and he will listen. Deals will only be made if they benefit American workers and address our nation's crippling trade deficits. America does not need other countries as much as other countries need us.
And I will say again, America is the richest consumer nation on the planet. All we do is spend. We spend like crazy. We spend like crazy. Just look at the numbers on Temu. We buy crap we don't even need. I mean, look at me with the flavor waters. I mean, I don't need to put iced tea flavor stuff in my drinks. I just drink it plain as water. But that's just the American way. We spend our money on garbage. In our lifetime, the U.S. went from production to consumption. Right, yeah. And then now our education, you know how many people are walking around here that are plumb dumb? You ever talk to a young person? I mean, plumb dumb. I mean, you got people that are around my age that are plumb dumb. Plumb dumb. Don't do a lick of studying, don't know nothing, but they think they know everything. I mean, it's ridiculous. At any rate, instead of having, I'll say it 1,000 times, if I am any type of politician, especially if I'm a senator, a congressman, whatever, knowing that I've got the primaries coming up next year, instead of running around here trying to, scream that Trump is racist from every rooftop I can, knowing damn well I'm lying because I'm probably about to go to jail for stealing because of Elon and Doge. All right. If anything, I would be looking to cut a deal and try to get jobs into my communities, into my areas. I'd be more concentrated on that than trying to toe some silly little Democratic Party line where I'm paying a bunch of old people in nursing homes and whatnot to come out and pretend like they're protesting and don't even know what the hell they're talking about. They passing out flyers for people to read and supposedly memorize. So when people in the crowd who are reporting on what they're doing, they can at least spout the talking point. But the thing about it is that once you get past the talking point and they ask you, okay, well, explain it, they can't. So all of a sudden, brain fart, but do understand these people that you've been seeing, what was it, the fifth or whatever, those were paid, they were all paid protesters. I mean, sure, you got some idiots who really believe what CNN and MSNBC and The View is saying. I mean, stupid is as stupid does. But a lot of those people were paid protesters. It was a waste of their, I mean, at least they got a check. At least they got a check. At least they got a check. But if I'm a leader and I'm not a Republican leader, I don't care what party I'm in. If I'm a leader, that's what I'm looking to. I'm talking to Republicans. I'm talking to people in Congress and whatnot. Hey, where are these jobs going? What countries are trying to build what where? We got some land because apparently they're not refurbishing old factories and whatnot. Trump is making them come in and build their factories from the ground up. I know I'm broken recording this, making them build from the ground up, both their warehouses and their office spaces from the ground up. And then using, of course, because they're here, they're going, not only are they going to be using American labor, but they're also going to be using American products to build their products. You understand? So you're talking about a domino effect. It's like a pyramid. People gonna get paid. So I want to know, where can I get my folks paid at? Who can I talk to? Let me talk to the mayor, see about zoning laws and all of this stuff. I'm gonna get my ducks in a row, and then I'm going to go talk to the people in Washington to find out if I can get some of these jobs into my area. We got this lot, that lot, that lot, that lot, that lot. What's up? How much space they need? When are they coming? You know what I'm saying? I got this construction crew, that construction crew. I got a list of construction crews, you know, both black, white, Hispanic, whatever. Everybody's legal. Everybody's licensed and bonded by the state. Angie's List, good ratings. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? That would be my primary concern. So that way I can get reelected instead of running up here making goofy TikTok thinking that I'm helping somebody outside of myself. But, you know, you can't fix stupid. I've tried. It almost gave me a nervous breakdown. Let's go.
President Trump knows this. He's going to use the leverage of our markets and our country to the advantage of the people he was sworn in to represent. On the other hand, countries like China, who have chosen to retaliate and try to double down on their mistreatment of American workers, are making a mistake. President Trump has a spine of steel, and he will not break, and America will not break under his leadership. He is guided by a firm belief that America must be able to produce essential goods for our own people and export them to the rest of the world. A strong America cannot be solely dependent on foreign countries for our food, medicines, and critical minerals. And America must always maintain a robust defense supply chain. Reprioritizing and strengthening our manufacturing industry are essential national and economic security issues of the utmost importance to President Trump. By focusing on supercharging the onshoring of American manufacturing, the president is already delivering on his promise to usher in an economic golden age for our country.
Matter of fact, speaking of China, let me show y'all this. These are the imports from China. It says United States imports a wide variety of goods from China, including electronics, machinery, and consumer goods, with China being a major supplier for items like smartphones, computers, and toys. According to Visual Capitalist, in 2023, smartphones, computers, and lithium-ion batteries, toys, and video game consoles accounted for 27% of U.S. goods imports from China. This is stuff, in all honesty, we can do without. So let's see here. Here's a more detailed look at U.S. imports from China. Smartphones. A significant portion of U.S. imports from China are smartphones, accounting for 9% of the total. Don't need them. You can easily get smartphone. You can get a smartphone anywhere. Computers are another major import category from China. We make computers here in America. Lithium-ion batteries. China is a major source of lithium-ion batteries, with the U.S. directly importing $13.1 billion in 2023, accounting for 70% of all U.S. lithium-ion battery imports that year. By the way, they have a battery factory in Michigan. China does. And it's not hard to make a lithium-ion battery. You can easily get any company, especially a company like Boeing or Tesla. Anybody. The guy that be on Shark Tank, the guy that's bald, he's now be on CNN schooling those morons on the Scott Jennings show. Anybody can make these freaking batteries. See, electrical equipment and components. China is a major source of electrical equipment and components. Like what? Consumer goods, toys. China is a major supplier of toys and games. China is a major source of furniture, bedding, and mattresses. China is a major source of textiles, making up 29.7% of U.S. textile imports. Lamps. China is a major source of lamps. Sports equipment. China is a major source of sports equipment. Paint. China is a major source of paint. I mean, these are things we can make right here. Medical equipment. China is a source of medical equipment and supplies that we can make here. Motor vehicle and parts. China is a source of motor vehicles and parts, which we can make right here. See, industrial machinery. China is a source of industrial machinery, which we can make right here. Oils and grains. China imports oil seeds and grains from the U.S. Okay. Oil and gas. China imports oil and gas from the U.S. Okay, this is what they get from us. Excuse me. So, all right, let's see. China imports oil and gas from the U.S. Meat products. China imports meat products from the U.S. and miscellaneous manufactured commodities. China imports miscellaneous. Okay, blah, blah, blah. But you get the idea. Like, dude, like you do understand whatever you manufacture is not hurting us. We could do without it. Dancing politicians are so cringeworthy. Yes, China ain't building no PS5 components. Japan ain't having that. Yeah, like, no, we can't. What is it that we can't do without that China makes? Sounds like directional spending to me. Well, discretional. Yeah, that's what it comes off as, discretional spending. Discretional spending. Like, I mean, I've had this phone for years. I think I've had this phone about 6 years. No, this is a new one. I've had this phone 3 years. And what do they do now? What do they do with old smartphones? Y'all see them little smartphone kiosks where you can trade your phone in for money to see if it might be valuable? Oh, okay, you said, I need my Timu junk. You know, them goofy little, you can go to the kiosk and get little $20, maybe $6 for an old phone. You know what? I got an old phone sitting around. Where? Oh, yeah. Old phone just sitting around. Probably worth $3. They take those phones and they refurbish them and put them back on the display case. $899. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you, like, come on. Come on. They recycle that stuff and sell it to you at damn near 800% markup. Timo sums it up. Shoot, I mean, what are you, I mean, come on. We don't need that crap that they send to us. And in all honesty, any car parts that we need as a car manufacturing plant, you knowing what's going on with this, you should have already started trying to find another way to get those parts done. China is not the only place that makes car parts. My grandparents would believe this BS. Let's get back to our girl. Oh, by the way, speaking of her outfit, why you said deplane, look like Mr. Rourke. You know that she's got the business sexy on. She got the blazer with the low cut blouse with the necklace. Remember, we talked about this before about some of the reporters that were in the audience. Some of them were dressed just like this. This is, you know, like business casual slash sexy. Okay.
Just look at Friday's jobs report, which smashed expectations for the second straight month. The American economy added 228,000 jobs, nearly 100,000 more jobs than economists predicted, and the fourth highest month for private payroll growth in the past 2 years. There was also a sharp increase in transportation, construction, and warehousing employment.
Of course.
And in just 11 weeks, President Trump has secured more than $1.5 trillion in private sector investment. This is $500 billion more than Joe Biden secured in his entire term. This record-breaking private sector investment will create roughly 350,000 American jobs and counting. If you add up all of the investment pledges from foreign governments, President Trump has secured an incredible $5 trillion in total investments already.
Not even 3 months.
In the months ahead, President Trump's pro-growth economic agenda will be fully realized. The largest deregulatory effort in American history is underway. Unnecessary, burdensome, costly red tape is being eliminated by this entire federal government every day, driving down costs and massively boosting small businesses. So far, President Trump's deregulation effort has already saved Americans more than $180 billion, equivalent to $2,100 per family of 4.
Speaking of which, speaking of sex workers, our little prostitute selves, we are now switching the cigar lounge to Tuesdays at 7 p.m. from 7 till possibly 10, not to conflict with other people's channels, like, because everybody has a set time of when they go on. Those of you who are listeners here, you guys also listeners over at Art New Style, so in order not to conflict with his time for you guys, we're starting at 7. So we'll probably go from 7 till maybe 10 o'clock. All right. But our cutoff time will be 10. So we'll at the majority do 3 hours. And that way you guys can go over there and enjoy his content as well. So that's our new time now for the Cigar Lounge, Tuesdays at 7. All right. You can catch the replay. It won't be 5, 6, 7 hour shows. There'll be 3 hour shows no matter what. So that way you guys can listen throughout the day while y'all are working or trying to get some sleep or whatever. It is what it is. So let's go.
The president's Drill Baby Drill energy agenda, which he will discuss later this evening in the East Room, is capitalizing on the abundance of natural resources under our feet to generate more affordable electricity, cheap gas, and quality new jobs. All of this will combine to end the Biden-imposed cost of living crisis that's absolutely crushed American families. Under President Trump, the American energy industry will lead the globe over the next century, delivering lower prices and significantly strengthening our country's economic position. At the president's direction, Republicans in Congress are working quickly to pass one big, beautiful bill, which will also include the largest tax cut in American history.
All right, so here. All right, so let me read it. In case she doesn't. If she does, I'm sorry. The budget plan just passed. This is on his Truth Social. I have a Truth Social account. It's pretty interesting over there. The budget plan just passed by the United States Senate has my complete and total endorsement and support. All of the elements we need to secure the border, enact historic spending cuts, and make tax cuts permanent, and much more are strongly covered and represented in the bill. Thank you to Senate Majority Leader John Thune and House Speaker Mike Johnson for their hard work and attention to detail. There is no better time than now to get this deal done. The House, the Senate, and our great administration are going to work tirelessly on creating the one big beautiful bill, an appropriate name if Congress likes. Everyone is going to be happy with the result. Passage will make even the subject of world trade far easier and better for the USA. The House must pass this budget resolution and quickly make America great again. Which is funny because I got the text from Ground News right before I went on. Let's see here. House delays Senate budget resolution. House delayed Senate budget resolution vote as several Republicans push back. It says House Republican leaders on Wednesday scrapped plans to vote on the Senate's framework to advance key parts of President Trump's legislative agenda, a major setback that came in the face of opposition from hardline conservatives. And I understand why they're doing that, because they want to see what goes on with these tariffs first, because they don't want to pass all of this stuff and then we're still in turmoil with these tariffs. Now, as said earlier, Trump decided to give them a pause on the tariffs. Like, we're gonna pause, we're gonna let y'all call us, we're gonna renegotiate the tariffs. All right, because do understand, We're not gonna let you get away with stealing from us. So we can renegotiate the tariffs. Got 70 countries blowing up his phone, looking like wasn't it the last act of Trading Places, where they was all on the stock exchange floor. Buy. It's looking like that at the White House in the U.S. Treasury Department. They going crazy with these phone calls. So once all of the tariffs get set, for the most part, then more than likely they'll probably come back. They'll see how it goes, because the stock market is dropping like crazy. But just hold. If you want to pull out, you want to sell your stock now, that's fine. Sell whatever you got. Okay, sit back. Give it about, what did he say? I think he's pausing the tariffs for a month, 3 months, whatever. Sit back, come back to it. Come back to it whenever the pause is off. Get it at its lowest. Buy low, sell high. Right now, you buy low. Get ready to buy low. Get ready to buy low. I think my U.S. steel stock, let me check. I know I'm all over the place. Let me see my U.S. steel stock doing. Whoops. I know I spelled that wrong. All right, so let's look at the 5-day. Yeah, what's the day? The 9th? Yeah, it shot up. Yeah, my U.S. steel stock. This is 5-day. Let's do 1 month. This is 1 month. I got 10 shares of this. Like, it went down on April 2nd because, that was the day, Liberation Day. But you see it shot back up higher than before. Closed at a plus 10. Because now, the last I saw it, it was going for $38 a share. Now it's $45 a share. If anything, I might want. Look at all these others. Just shooting up. Cleveland Cliffs, Steel Dynamics, Nucor. I wonder if these are cheap stocks. Oh, yeah, they are. Let's see. Okay, who is that? Nucor. Let's see. Steel Dynamics. Oh, okay. There they go right there. Okay, Cleveland Cliffs going for $7.95 a share. Let's see. That's some real cheap stock. Let's see how they look for the month. Oh, okay. Let's go 6 months. Oh well. Let's see. Nippon Steel Corp in Japan. Wow, look at that. Damn near $3,000 a share. Wow. Woo. Yeah, I ain't playing with y'all. Honda Motor Company. They're the plus 70. See what they look like past 6 months. Okay, so they crashed out April. Yeah, everybody crashed out April 2nd, but you're going to get in. Toyota. Let's look at Toyota. All right, let's go 6 months. Actually, I should really just do 1 month. Yeah. Yeah, after April 2nd, everybody kind of crashed down, but they're climbing back up. Let's see. Did we look at Honda? Oh, yeah, we did look at Honda. Let's see. Nissan. Right. What am I saying? This is Japanese money. You can cash in easy on that. I mean, if you want to sit and wait, that's fine. You want to sit and wait, that's fine, but it's there. You say two blade clutching phones. Yeah, he got 3 phones, 4 phones. Last typo. Let me get my glasses. It's the Japanese steel is primo. Yeah, I see. I wonder if it's just in yen. If it's going in yen, then it's pretty cheap in American money. Anyway, let's go.
As President Trump has said, the House must pass this budget resolution quickly. Here in our new media seat today, we have Jasmine Wright, the White House reporter for Notice. Notice is a nonprofit and nonpartisan news site which launched in early 2024. They've gained millions of readers across the country since. Newsroom's goal is both to inform readers and train the next generation of politics and policy journalists. They also partner with state newsrooms and to give local communities more knowledge of what their representatives are doing in Washington, D.C. With that, please kick us off, Jasmine.
Thanks so much, Caroline. A couple questions for you. The first one being, can you explain the White House's evolution from this is not a negotiation on tariffs to countries should pitch us and start negotiations on tariffs?
As the president said yesterday, Jasmine, both things can be true at the same time. And it is a non-negotiable position that the United States has faced a national security and economic crisis because of the unfair trade practices by countries around the world. As for the president, I have maintained this position. The entire administration has always said that President Trump is willing to pick up the phone and talk. And the president met with his trade team this morning. And he directed them to have tailor-made trade deals with each and every country that calls up this administration to strike a deal. And listen, and each and every one of these trade deals should be tailored and unique based on that country's markets, based on that country's exports, the imports here in the United States of America. What makes the most sense for the American worker and for our industry? The president is focused on putting America first.
So was the evolution not factored in or determined by kind of the tumult in the stock market? Was that not a part of the consideration to start making these negotiations and deals?
Again, I would reject that there was an evolution. On day one, we had said that the president will always pick up the phone for other nations and other companies that call this administration. The president always has a listening ear. And it's a non-negotiable fact that America has faced a national security and economic crisis for many decades, and President Trump is just the first to address this.
And then my last question, how will negotiations change how much revenue the White House is planning to make from the tariffs?
Well, that has yet to be seen, but as the president said, the reciprocal tariffs, which will continue to go in effect as these deals are negotiated and ongoing, will generate trillions of dollars in revenue to the United States. And this is twofold. The president wants to onshore jobs here to the United States of America. He wants to boost our manufacturing industry. He also wants to tackle these crippling deficits with almost every single country around the world. Jackie.
Thanks, Caroline. The Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, warned that some of these negotiations might take up to months, that we could be doing this through April, May, and into June. And then you had Kevin Hassett say,
this chick pissed. Okay, I know this is really like my second time noticing her, but she's pissing me off with her footwear. What are you doing? What are you doing? You got on, and I think she had on this. No, she had on like a pink or bright. Yeah, she had on a pink pantsuit last time. So now she got on the green. But look at these shit. What are you doing? What are you doing? What is this? What is this? You sitting up front. You got Jim from The Office right here. Got the mic on you. Look, what are you wearing? What are you? Oh my God. Y'all gotta excuse me, man. I'm just, if you're gonna dress in a professional setting, then dress professionally. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so I looked at, before I get back to her question, I looked at the currency converter. That Japanese steel is going for, in American money, $20.16 a share. They should move her to the rear. Yeah, exactly. It's going, yeah, so that Japanese steel is going for $20.16 per share. And the call sign for that Nippon Steel, what are their call letters? Damn it, where are their call letters? I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on. I want to make sure I get this right. TYO? Is that it? Yeah, TYO. 5401. Okay. Yeah. TYO. Let me write that down. TYO-5401. Jap Steel. I know I'm being racist. All right. Back to the show.
it's going to take a lot for the president to.
Okay,
here
what
to
were
the
you
United
asking?
States of America. He wants to boost our manufacturing industry. He also wants to tackle these crippling deficits with almost every single country around the world. Jackie.
Thanks, Caroline.
Nippon.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent warned that some of these negotiations might take up to months, that we could be doing this through April, May, and into June. And then you had Kevin Hassett say it's going to take a lot for the president to put his signature on the line, so he wants to make sure there's a good deal for America. Is the president operating on any sort of a timeline or deadline where he wants this completed by?
Well, we always move at Trump speed here at the White House, which is incredibly fast. I know you all know that from covering this White House day to day. The president likes to get things done, but he's very much focused on ensuring that these deals are good for the American worker. They are good for American manufacturing. And again, that they tackle these crippling deficits with these countries. All options are on the table for each country. But again, these are going to be tailor-made deals. They are not going to be off-the-rack deals, as the president has called it. And he has directed his entire trade team to be part of this effort. So that includes Secretary Bessent and our National Economic Director, Kevin Hassett. It also includes Secretary Lutnick, Peter Navarro, the entire trade team, Jamison Greer, who was on the Hill today. Everybody who was involved in this incredible, fair, reciprocal trade agenda will continue to be involved in negotiating these deals.
And then yesterday, Goldman Sachs put out a research note. It put the odds of a recession at 45% within the next 12 months, up from 35%. But Peter Navarro guaranteed last night no recession. Does the president agree with him on that? I know the president in the past has been leery of making definitive statements on that.
I can speak for the president, and I can speak for the optimism that he sees in our economy every day. Again, when you talk about the massive deregulatory efforts that are happening across the board, when you talk about how oil prices are down, gas prices are down, egg prices are down, we're cutting costs for the American worker, for the American consumer. We also see trillions of dollars of investments pouring into this country every day, and we're working hard now on the tariff side of the president's economic agenda. But don't forget, the next side of this is tax cuts, and we're counting on Capitol Hill to get those done, the largest tax cuts in history.
Does that mean?
Now, y'all aren't aware, Navarro, the guy she was talking about, Peter Navarro, he, said some stupid stuff about Elon. Elon called him an idiot. He was saying that Elon's company is going to be hurt the most because the majority of the Tesla materials are made overseas in China. That's not true. The majority of Tesla's manufacturing here in the United States, the product that they use, 80% is made right here in the United States on all Tesla models. So Elon called him an idiot for that. So I looked at, something told me to look at my stocks because I'm playing around. I'm like, let me see what's going on. So the only thing that's upside down right this very second is U.S. Steel. For some reason, I don't know why it's minus $3. It closed at $40. $40 a share. But Alliant Energy Group is up plus $2.80 from its original share when I bought it. Tesla is up plus $47 from when I bought it. Lithium American Corp, well, it's only up 37 cents. Graphite is only up 1/13 of a cent. That's fine. It's on the plus. Let's see. What is this? Biddy? I don't even know what this is, but it's up $5.22. Norfolk is only down 0.956 of a cent, but Nvidia is up $16.28 and Apple is up $25. That's why y'all saw me doing all the gyrations. THNQ, these are THNQ, AIQ, and BOTZ. These are the fake girlfriend dating apps on the phones, on people's phones. They have never let me down. They're up $6.02, $3.76, and $3.17. And then my silver is up $1, and my gold is up $2.44. You do not lose if you trust yourself. At any rate, let's get back to this.
That without those tax cuts coming through, that the likelihood of a recession is greater?
No, that's not what I said. I'm just saying be mindful of the whole of government economic approach that this administration is taking every day. Sure. Go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. You just said that one of the reasons these tariffs are going into effect is that some countries have been ripping off the United States, but some of the tariffs target countries like Madagascar, Bangladesh, with very high levels of poverty. So can you explain how the president wants to correct the deficit with those countries? Is there a plan, for example, to onshore the textile industry that these countries are known because, and, just like, can you be specific about those like low income?
Sure. Well, first of all, the reciprocal tariff rates that were implemented by country were focused on the monetary tariff that those countries have imposed on the United States, but also the non-monetary tariff barriers and the regulations, if you will, that have been put into effect over the years, making it harder for America to export to these countries. These were very carefully crafted numbers. There was also a 10% baseline tariff across the board, as well, as you know. Moving forward, the president will talk to any country that picks up the phone to call, and I can tell you the phones have been ringing off the hook, wanting to talk to this administration, this president, and his trade team to try to strike a deal. And it's because the world knows that they need the United States of America. They need our markets. They need our consumer. The president has a lot of leverage on his side because he has the best economy and the best country in the world that he leads, and he knows that. And it's about dang time we finally have a president who uses that economic leverage to benefit American workers. And that's what the president is trying to do. Maggie.
Caroline, thanks. Does the president endorse something that Howard Lutnick said on television this weekend, which was that the army of millions and millions of human beings screwing in little screws to make iPhones, that kind of thing is going to be moving to the U.S.? Is that how the president envisions manufacturing shifting? And if so, how long would that take roughly?
The president wants to increase manufacturing jobs here in the United States of America, but he's also looking at advanced technologies. He's also looking at AI and emerging fields that are growing around the world that the United States needs to be a leader in as well. So there's an array of diverse jobs, more traditional manufacturing jobs, as you discussed, but also jobs in advanced technologies. The president is looking at all of those. He wants them to come back home.
But iPhones specifically, is that something that he thinks is the kind of technology that can move to the U.S.?
Absolutely. He believes we have the labor, we have the workforce, we have the resources to do it. And as you know, Apple has invested $500 billion here in the United States. So if Apple didn't think the United States could do it, they probably wouldn't have put up that big chunk of change. Elena.
Hi, Caroline. It's clear the president has gotten the world's attention with these tariffs. Is he considering at all potentially holding off on imposing some of them before the deadline, or maybe later, reversing them because he's having these negotiations and having these good talks with other leaders?
The president was asked and answered this yesterday. He said he's not considering an extension or a delay. I spoke to him before this briefing. That was not his mindset. He expects that these tariffs are going to go into effect. And you said something very important, Elena, in your question. You said the president has captivated the attention of the world. Absolutely, he has. And it's about time we have a president in the Oval Office who is putting the world on notice and is putting the American people first. And again, is using the leverage of the United States to negotiate good trade deals.
All right. Remember we were talking about Nippon Steel, the Japanese steel? Okay, so this is not their call letters. The 5401 TYO, that's not in. You actually have to do Nippon Steel, ADR. So these are their call letters. But I typed in Nippon Steel. Look at what it's going for in American money. $6.71. $6.71 a share. Oh my God. So since China wants to get funny with the steel, hey. I'm thinking about it. It's just a couple bucks. It's whatever, because do understand, we send them steel. So who are they going to get their steel from? Who is China going to wind up getting their steel from? Hey, works for me. You say, why the sneaker girl had that big ass 2009 laptop in that cramped space? Why sway? Why? I mean, because she has no sense. You say, but Japan got hit with tariffs too. Yeah, but but Unsinkable, like they said early on, Japan was on the phone. Like, yo, hey, hold on, let's talk. And Trump was like, okay, talk to my Treasury Secretary. Talk to him. Talk to an intern, whatever. We gonna negotiate. Shoot, they in there like your dudes on what's that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio? They in there getting their dance on, closing deals, except they doing it legally. I wonder. Oh, that's right. They already had the midget toss with Zelensky when they threw him out of the White House. All right. Let's get serious. I'm in a good mood, man. But yeah, I think I might get me some shares of that.
Just a quick follow-up. There's been some public sparring between Elon Musk and the president's trade advisor, Peter Navarro, on some of these tariffs. Musk actually referred to Navarro today as being, quote, dumber than a sack of bricks. Are you or is the administration, the president, all concerned that this is maybe impacting the public's understanding of these tariffs? It might be messing with the message on it?
No, look, these are obviously two individuals who have very different views on trade and on tariffs. Boys will be boys, and we will let their public sparring continue. And you guys should all be very grateful that we have the most transparent administration in history. And I think it also speaks to the president's willingness to hear from all sides, that he has people at the highest levels of this government in this White House who have very diverse opinions on very diverse issues, but the president takes all opinions in mind, and then he makes the best decision based on the best interests of the American public. Deanna.
Thanks, Caroline. On Truth Social today, Trump was talking about one-stop shopping talks with foreign leaders, bringing leaders to the U.S., to Washington, and talking to them about tariffs, but also other topics. So is that part of his strategy to bring the leaders to Washington and trying to get deals, outside of tariffs on foreign policy issues as well?
I think the president, again, is going to have a custom tailor-made approach to each and every country. And if that means discussions of foreign aid, of our military presence in these countries, how those troops are paid for, come to the table, that could be part of the negotiation in these economic negotiations. But it's the president's economic team who will be leading these. These are tariff and trade negotiations. And yes, they will be one-stop shopping for each and every country. They will be, as the president said again, tailor-made, not off the rack, to each and every country based on America's needs.
Can you confirm?
How are you? It's good. From Lindsay TV. So President Trump has designated Tren de Aragua as a foreign terrorist organization and deported its members while also moving to restrict Venezuela's oil exports. Is the administration preparing additional military or economic actions against Venezuela and the Maduro regime? And my second question is about Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett. Is the administration have a comment on her decision to go with the liberals and go actually with the Tren de Araguas? This is the same justice that actually sided against January 6th hostages last year. So is the administration have a comment? Are they disappointed in Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett?
To your first question, I don't have any actions to read out in terms of Venezuela. The president has imposed secondary tariffs on the Maduro regime and on Venezuela in the form of oil, which is obviously going to have a crippling effect on the Maduro regime, and that's the intended effect of this administration. As for the justice you mentioned, as for the Supreme Court, we've made our feelings very clear. We believe this was a massive victory. Certainly, we wish this was a 9-0 decision because we firmly believe that the president was well within his constitutional authority. And the Supreme Court made that very clear last night, and they put Judge Boasberg in his place. We called on the Supreme Court to rein in these judges who are acting as judicial activists, not real arbiters of the truth and the law. And that's exactly what we saw the Supreme Court do yesterday. Christian.
Good job.
Thanks, Caroline. Now that the president's reciprocal tariffs are here, going into effect tomorrow, what's the status of the ERS? When will they actually start collecting revenue? And will that be nested under CBP or somewhere else entirely?
It's something Secretary Lutnick has taken up, so I defer you to the Department of Commerce, but it's something that he and the president believe quite strongly in, and it's a promise that they intend to keep to the American people.
Real quickly, can you explain why the president opted to send Secretary Hegseth to the dignified transfer last week instead of attending himself?
Sure. The Secretary Hegseth was there to represent the administration. The president has expressed his condolences to these families, as have I from this podium. Shelby.
The president's trade representative this morning told senators that the president does not intend on carving out exemptions for products and companies when it comes to tariffs. But would the administration consider changing that stance should bankruptcies begin among U.S. companies who are dependent on China trade?
I won't get ahead of the president on any exemptions or his decision on that. I will leave that to him. But again, we're looking at this country by country and based on the needs of the American people and the American workforce.
Yeah, because the other day, the secretary, Treasury Secretary, got a little ahead of himself. I think it was Friday. He got a little ahead of himself. And then, of course, the White House officially wound up contradicting him because he was, he got a little mouthy. So he was wrong. But, he's human. People make mistakes. Nobody's crying over the spilled milk. But that's why she asked that question.
One more. Can you walk us through how this specific tariff plan was decided on and which advisor came up with it?
The reciprocal tariff plan. It was a plan that was discussed by the president's entire trade team over the course of many, many meetings, and the president ultimately decided on which way to go. A few proposals were given to the president. There was debate and discussion, and the president made his decision. And as you've seen very publicly, the entire trade team is on board with this plan and the negotiations that will ensue because of it. Sure.
Caroline, on Iran, and given what's going to be happening on Saturday, what exactly is the current administration doing to stop Iran's funding of terrorist aggression worldwide that the previous administration wasn't doing?
Well, first of all, when it comes to Saturday, I won't get ahead of the president. He has said there will be direct talks with Iran on Saturday. I won't further any details from this podium for obvious reasons, security reasons. And we'll, provide an update as we always have. However, when it comes to Iran, the president has reimposed crippling sanctions on the Iranian regime, and he's made it very clear to Iran they have a choice to make. You can strike a deal with the president, you can negotiate, or there will be hell to pay. And as the president said yesterday, if they don't choose to move forward with diplomacy and a deal, which is the direction we do see them headed in, there will be grave consequences to pay.
Okay, so I'm in my stock portfolio. I'm listening. But remember, I was wondering, what is this BYDDY stock? That and the LNT, the Alliant Energy Corp. I just realized what they were. When I did, not last Sunday, but the Sunday before, when I did the money show that's down in my Patreon, these were the two energy companies that I bought stock in. I was telling people, you buy stock in these energy companies because, it's starting to get hot out. It's starting to get hot. This BYDDY, where are they located? I believe they are. Wow. So they, together with subsidiaries, engages in automobiles and batteries business in People's Republic of China, Hong Kong, Macau, Taiwan, and internationally. Let's see here. Let's see. They do mobile handset components, assembly service, the automobiles and related products and other products, blase. So they are the ones who do automobile power batteries, lithium ion batteries, photovoltaic and ion battery products. They also develop urban rail transportation business. Yeah, so they're located in China. Yeah. Despite the tariffs, I'm getting money off of them. Let's see who else. Let's see, Alliant Energy. Let's see, which I think I was already with them. Okay, so this is it. All right, so they operate as the utility. I'm sorry, let me show y'all this. I'm sorry. All right, let's see. They operate as a utility holding company that provides regulated electric and natural gas services in the United States. Operates through IPL and WPL segments. All right, so they're pretty much, let's see, they sell energy to wholesale customers in Minnesota, Illinois, and Iowa, and distributes steam for two customers in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Let's see, Wisconsin Power and Light generates and distributes electricity. So as you can see, I'm in the plus with them. I think it was somebody else. I don't want to give away my whole portfolio, but let's see here. Let's see. Graphite. Was it Graphite? Was one of them? No, I don't think so. I think I only bought, let me see. Yeah, it was just them two. All right. Just wanted to be sure. LNT. Yep, LNT and yep. BY. DD. Yeah. Anything else? Let me see. I'm just checking. Hold on, y'all. I'm just checking. I didn't do anything with AEP. Hold on. Oh, there they are. AEP. Pop right up. I didn't do it. Oh man, I didn't do anything with AEP. I'm sorry. Let me get back. I'm sorry. Let me get back. Oops, wrong button.
The back row.
Thank
Go
you,
ahead.
Caroline. On the president's threat yesterday on social media to increase tariffs against China by an additional 50% in response to their retaliation, has he signed anything in terms of an executive order, any documentation around that? Will that additional 50% go into effect tomorrow?
They will be going into effect at 12:01 a.m. tonight, so effectively tomorrow. Yes.
Work on that.
Yeah,
today?
plus I mean,
Of course, as always.
it's like
to the gentleman in front of you, because
it's
that's
like
who I originally
weed. It's
called on. Go
guaranteed
ahead.
to sell.
Over the weekend, President Trump said that he would be willing to have U.S. citizens deported to El Salvador with
Damn, he all the way in the back.
President Bukele. How would that work legally, and how many people would potentially be available for that operation?
So the president has discussed this idea quite a few times publicly. He's also discussed it privately. You're referring to the president's idea for American citizens to potentially be deported. These would be heinous, violent criminals who have broken our nation's laws repeatedly. And these are violent, repeat offenders in American streets. The president has said, if it's legal, right? If there is a legal pathway to do that, he's not sure. We are not sure if there is. It's an idea that he has simply floated and has discussed very publicly as in the effort of transparency. Reagan.
Thank you, Caroline. There's been more reporting coming out now about President Biden's
Oh, here's
decline
good.
while in the White House. Is the White House considering releasing the audio of Biden's interview with Special Counsel Robert Hur to the public, which the former president had previously blocked?
I don't have an update on that, but I can certainly check. I think the American people would be quite interested to hear that tape, but I'll double check on the release of it. Thank you. Michael.
Thank you, Caroline. On Saturday, during meetings with Iran, President Trump says high-level officials will be meeting directly with Iranian officials. We're hearing some pushback from Iran now saying those talks will be indirect. Can you clarify?
They will be direct talks on Saturday, and I won't get ahead of the president on any further details. Jennifer.
Yeah, two things. On the Israel tariffs, can you give us an update on the discussion on relaxing
Oh,
those tariffs? And then I had another question about the Doge team after that.
That discussion is ongoing. I don't have any definitive details to iron out for you here.
And then the president on Thursday told us that there was an incredible discovery that the Doge team had made. He called it horrible and incredible. Can you reveal that yet? Give us details on what it was about?
There has been a discovery. I hate to leave you hanging on a cliff, but I don't want to get ahead of the president on that. But I can confirm there has been a discovery. It's just not quite yet ready for release. Sure. Go ahead.
That's what. Remember, Elon said somebody was going to jail. Like he must work for the Inquirer. He almost out of the room. Remember, Elon said the other day somebody going to jail for selling Social Security numbers. They sold over 400,000 Social Security numbers. Remember he said that? That's what that woman was asking about. The thing is, Elon got a little mouthy, got a little ahead of himself. Okay, gave somebody a little bit of a heads up. But somebody's going to jail. Trust me, y'all been calling for, these people like, hey, somebody's not getting arrested. What's going on with, the Epstein stuff? I will repeat again. I will broken record this. Oh, he said I'm looking around like I have an 8 monitor set up like Swordfish. I just got my screen, but I've got 3 windows open. I'm looking at the NASDAQ, all of this stuff. I'm looking at the money. I'm looking at the money because, you know, that's really the only thing that matters. You know, first you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the taco. Fool, don't be no dummy. DJ Quick, baby. He didn't lie. So everybody's waiting on, you know, some members of the Democratic Party and all of this stuff, you know, people in Congress, whatnot. They're waiting on the cuffs. They're waiting on people to get charged. I'll say it again. Kash Patel, and I need to learn that. Okay, let me learn it now. Okay, let me learn it now. Because I feel ashamed that I don't know this brother's name. Come on. The brother that's the head of the DOJ. Excuse me. Hold on. Well, okay, Pam Bondi. Who's the other guy? It's somebody else. It's the brother. It's the young brother, the young black dude. I'm sorry. Let's see. Let me see. Hold on. Anyway. Wait. Okay, let's see. Well, he's not in there. The guy, the young black guy that's part of the DOJ. All right, I know. I'm sorry. I'm slowing down the show. I apologize. But him and Kash Patel, as you've heard, if you've been paying attention, they've been giving these guys lie detector tests because they need to flush out the bad apples. You know, the ones who are there doing political stuff. Like, dude, you're not there to be a Biden blowjobber. You're there to serve the American people, not somebody that's been lining your pockets. So they're flushing all of those people out through the lie detector test. Them and the FBI and the DOJ, they got to get fresh new agents. Get rid of the bad agents, bring in the good agents. Me, Charles, and all of us, Lewis, we was talking about this. If you got you former or current military or police, all right, this is your chance to get you a job working for the government, you know, with full benefits, law and order. This is your chance. FBI, Secret Service, DOJ, this is your opportunity. So once they get everybody set and then they start gathering their evidence, that's when they're going to go. That's when all of a sudden you're going to see a lot of perp walks. You're going to see a lot of deals. You're going to see a lot of people catching flights. You're going to see a lot of people offing themselves. All right. That's when it's going to start getting crazy. And I predict, I would say right around June. Right around June. Well, we April. So you got about another 2 months. Got another 2 months. You know, you got Ratchet Crockett out here running her trash mouth. Okay. Yeah, trust me. Yeah, she even got a YouTube channel. I mean, she's such a damn media whore. like, girl, like, don't you understand? They coming after you, Ilhan Omar, AOC. Okay. Who's the other chick? Aisha Presley. All you little loudmouth yappers. They coming after y'all first. You say, yep, Patel is headhunting. Yeah, hunting. You've ever watched that dude do any interview? He is not he's like Trump. He's the Indian young version of Trump. He's not playing around. Everybody that Trump hired talk like Trump, except for Hegseth. Hegseth is the only one that try to be all evasive and act like he's unsure or whatnot. But everybody else, y'all be part of the show. Y'all be seeing the people that be doing the interviews. They talk like Trump. They speak with Trump's mouth. So trust me, they not playing around. They coming. You never should have tried to kill him. Never should have tried to kill him. D-Day is coming. D-Day is coming. Wait, Tiffany Henry thinks she got off scot-free. She's no longer be the mayor and, you know, the supervisor. Like, chick, you're not getting away. If I was Jason House, the first thing I would do was file a criminal investigation on you. They are, Kiana Belcher already immediately ordered a once she's out, first order of business is a forensic audit of the finances of what's going on in Dalton. Trust me, they going after her. They hate that chick. She thinks she gonna escape. And let's be honest. I mean, she was saying, I know I meant to cover this. I never did do a Tiffany Henry video, but she was saying last year when Thornton Township cut her off from the credit card, she was like, y'all playing with my life right now. Like, well, what do you mean? You've been stealing millions. But truth be told, the reason why the state attorney general and Pritzker, the governor up there, hasn't done anything with Tiffany Henry or whatnot, them Democrats, who was in charge of the White House at the time? Democrats. So she was able to steal all that money. Yeah, I mean, she really don't have nothing to show for it. I mean, she didn't even buy a house. She was renting another woman's house. And the second that they cut off the credit card and the woman raised the rent because Tiffany raised the land taxes, suddenly now ain't nobody got no money to pay $2,400 a month in rent. Where'd the money go? Even the guy, the little Leotis boyfriend said, I ain't got no $2,100. Then what's going on with the money? You supposed to be making $100K a year. You ain't got 20. Why'd you paying the rent? First of all, $2,400. You ain't got that. What's going on, Leotis? Clearly, they were kicking the money upstairs. She ain't got no brand new car. She ain't got no mansion somewhere tucked away. She don't own any properties. The only thing that she built was that skating rink, which belongs to the city because she used taxpayer funds illegally. So where'd the money go? We know you spend over $40,000 in Amazon and whatever the hell else, Wayfair, whatever. But that was taxpayer funds. Where did your money go? Where did the taxpayer money go? Outside of trips and all of this stuff, because it's sure not in your pockets. So where's the money? She had to kick it upstairs. She ain't got it. She ain't got it. You say Fannie Willis better get out of the country. Oh, they coming after her so hard. They coming after her so hard. They gonna throw that woman in jail. They gonna throw her in jail. Who's the linebacker chick that the rumor is out that she married her father, Letitia James. She out there by herself with her Trump derangement syndrome. I ain't gonna get him. It's like, chick, you needed to have taken Fannie Willis's cue and abandoned ship. You still call yourself think you gonna take down the president when you just got exposed for committing all types of mortgage fraud in Virginia and whatnot? What is you doing? You don't have the power to take down the president. You really think you gonna serve the president with a subpoena and he gonna show up, like y'all tried to do him last year? Girl, get the hell out of here. You'll get dragged out to the street and clubbed before that happened. These people are stupid. They are stupid. They do not know what they're doing. But trust me, their day is coming. Watch, it's going to be a hot summer. It's going to be a hot summer, especially when they start auditing these states. It's going to be a hot summer.
Thank you.
I was calling on a young lady behind you, but I'll come to you after, Ed. All right. Not discriminating here.
This chick right here.
Meeting today with.
Oh, she cute. Y'all see her? She a little cutie pie. Look like it's her first real important job. Look, she's smiling. She's smiling. They like, oh, it's your first day at the White House, and she calls on you with your little Kmart sweater. Sorry, Target. Your little Target outfit on. Your little slick back. Welcome to the White House, honey. Let's replay it.
Discovery is just not quite yet ready for release. Go ahead.
Caroline, thank you.
I was calling on the young lady behind you, but I'll come to you after, Ed. Not discriminating here.
The president is meeting today with House Republicans. Can you say who is in that meeting and his message to Republicans that are skeptical of the Senate passed budget framework?
Sure. The president will be meeting with Republican lawmakers today here at the White House to talk to them about the framework that the Senate passed. The president was very quick to put out a statement about his support for the reconciliation package that the Senate passed, and he is counting on House Republicans to pass it. The Republicans received an overwhelming mandate from the American public to govern. We have an extraordinary opportunity. There are key promises that the president made to the American people in this bill: tax cuts, securing the border, deregulation, unleashing the might of American energy. These are good things for the American people. The president wants to see this get done, and that's why he's engaging with lawmakers today.
Just a quick follow-up on.
Look, see? Look, she all cute. What is she like? She looks like she's maybe about 26, 27 years old. At the oldest, maybe 30. Little Bloomberg keychain. I got my wrist badge. Let me stop. No, I'm proud of her, though. I'm so proud of her. Welcome to the White House, honey. But regarding the tariffs, though, I know Trump put a pause on them. But for every country that actually goes ahead and negotiates successfully, boom, we're instituting it. You're no longer on a pause. We're kicking it in. For every country that negotiates successfully, the pause is off. Let's go. The pause is off. Let's go. The pause is off. Let's go. Boom, boom, boom. That way you slowly ease your way into it, even if it's 10 at a time or whatnot, but you ease your way into it, give the market a chance to settle. You know, because they already know how it's going to go now. They have an idea of what they're permanently going to look at. Let them flow, let it flow, let it flow. Let the factories and whatnot, all of these jobs that are coming in, these, you know, that's buying the $5 million gold cards, let all these corporations come in, give them a chance to build. You understand? I think it's a 3-month pause, which would be around June. About July. Give them a chance to come in, give them a chance to build up their factories, get their workforce and everything, and then boom, you can go ahead and hit them tariffs. But I would definitely do that. Once y'all make the deals, boom, it's on. If you're gonna buy the gold card, y'all better talk now. The clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. You better come on, call us. Yes, we want to set up a factory in Minneapolis. Yes, come on. Come on. I mean, it's smart. It's smart business. I don't know why people don't get this. It's smart, but then again, we're talking about people who don't even know how to run a daggone hot dog stand, let alone anything about concerning money. But whatever, let's go. Let's hear what the little cutie got to say. What's her follow-up question?
Tariffs. Kevin Hassett said today that the administration is prioritizing talks with Japan and South Korea, other trading partners. Are there other countries on that list that you guys can name publicly that you're having serious discussions with?
Sure. As you have heard from various administration officials, myself included, there have been nearly 70 countries that have reached out to the administration last time I checked. But again, I hear the phones are ringing off the hook. There are foreign leaders who want to fly to Washington tonight and get on a plane to negotiate with this country, which shows you the leverage that the president is using. That shows you the rest of the world needs the United States of America to do business with. Israel, obviously, yesterday, you heard a public statement from Prime Minister Netanyahu. The president has detailed his calls with the leaders of Japan and South Korea. We are going to prioritize our allies and our partners around the world first when it comes to these negotiations, and the trade team will be divvying them up again to make tailor-made trade deals around the world.
Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, Israel was like, well, we're not going to institute any tariffs against the United States. And Trump was like, that's nice. We still gonna charge y'all asses. All the money we've been sending y'all for decades. Yeah, no, we want our money back. We want our money back. You know, it's like when your brother suddenly now, hit the lottery or whatnot. Oh man, yeah, like, no, I want my money back, bro. I put you through law school. I want my money back. Write me a check. Write me a check. Yeah, but from what last I heard, he was like, I'm not dropping the tariffs against y'all. So you came here to kiss my ass for nothing. But let me check on that while this goes on.
Ed, go ahead.
You
As
mentioned,
promised.
yes, thank you. You mentioned the 70 countries or so. I'm curious though, under what conditions at this point would President Trump talk to President Xi about tariffs?
Look, I just spoke to the president about this, and he believes that China wants to make a deal with the United States. He believes China has to make a deal with the United States. It was a mistake for China to retaliate. The president, when America is punched, he punches back harder. That's why there will be 104% tariffs going into effect on China tonight at midnight. But the president believes that Xi and China want to make a deal. They just don't know how to get that started. And the president also wanted me to tell all of you that if China reaches out to make a deal, he'll be incredibly gracious, but he's going to do what's best for the American people.
So China has to call first?
The Chinese want to make a deal. They just don't know how to do it. But the president will be implementing these 104% tariffs on China tonight.
Under what conditions might he consider lowering tariffs on China at this point?
It would be imprudent of me to tell you those conditions here from the podium. Sure, Gabe.
Thanks, Caroline.
Okay, so as it says, I asked, did Trump drop the tariffs against Israel? No, he didn't. Despite discussions with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Trump refused to ease the 17% tariffs he imposed on Israeli imports, even after Israel eliminated all remaining tariffs on U.S. goods in an attempt to avoid these measures. Trump maintained his stance. He emphasized the substantial aid the U.S. provides to Israel annually as part of his reasoning. So he came all the way to the U.S. for nothing. No, bitch, I want my money. I'm gonna whoop your ass and take my cash. I know I'm cursing, but it's not in an angry way. All right, so let's back it up. So I guess she's asking this guy right here. I guess he's doing the question.
Consider lowering tariffs on China.
Okay,
It would be imprudent of me to tell you those conditions here from the podium.
and then this guy right here.
Thanks, Caroline. With regards to the Supreme Court ruling on the Alien Enemies Act, you're right. It was a win for the administration, but the justices also said that deportees are entitled to due process. Does the administration agree with that?
That's not quite true, Gabe. They said that they are entitled to a habeas petition, and we are going to continue to comply with the law. And we are wholly confident that every single person that has been deported under the Alien Enemies Act, every person that will continue to be deported under the Alien Enemies Act qualifies for that deportation.
NBC News is reporting that the administration is considering drone strikes on drug cartels in Mexico. We're citing several officials. This morning, Mexico's president was asked about that, and she said that we reject any of those actions. Your response?
I saw that reporting. I don't want to confirm it from this podium. I don't want to comment on it because I'm not sure, but I would defer you to the National Security Council.
Yeah, because apparently, he said, run me my paper, right? So apparently, the president of Mexico said that the U.S. that she will not allow any U.S. military action in Mexico concerning the cartels because, the cartels run Mexico. To that, I say fine. Fine. I dropped the solution months ago. I tell you what, we will have drones, military drones, patrol our borders. And again, like I said, the signs will be up. If you cross this wall, you are subject to arrest or likely to be shot. One of the two is going to happen. Because you see, they were cutting holes in the fence and everything. Like, okay, if the drones catch you, I use the same drones that I use over in Ukraine. If the drones catch you, I don't care if you're a family of 5 with your little kids and, trying to run across. No, you get popped. You're getting popped. You're getting popped. The sensors, we will place the sensors. You say put the Area 51 signs on the border. Yes. Yes. The signs are there. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. We are not, no. As far as we're concerned, you are an enemy invader. You will be shot. If we don't catch you, you will be shot. Don't call yourself trying to jump in a Jeep. We're getting away in the SUV and that drone. Boom, you're gone. You and the freaking what do they call it? Not the mule, the smuggler. Yeah, the trafficker. Both gone. We're sniffing you out. I was watching a video last week. They were showing like the tunnels that they have been. I mean, these are some elaborate tunnels. You know, with lights and stairs and, you know, little rooms where you can go and take a break. You know, I mean, it was like a work site. Yeah, you had U.S. military Marines sniffing out the tunnels. They had electricity and everything. Like, they run for miles. Like, yeah, okay, you build it. We sticking of dynamite. We're using sticks of dynamite. Yeah, the coyote get it on site. Sticks of dynamite. Oh, boom, you're gone. Blow up the tunnels. Just blow up the tunnels. The little houses that they have along the border where they think they slick. Yeah, we're doing raids on those. We're seizing those. Eminent domaining those houses. We're doing raids on it. No more lookout towers or none of that. Get rid of all of that. If that's the game you want to play, we trying to help you out. But if that's the game you want to play, well, then let's play the game. And I know, I'm a bleeding heart. You can't do that, bruh. It's no different than you having a neighbor that's always cutting across in your yard. You put the fence up, he tear the fence down, he cutting across. The neighbor that called himself trying to tear down my tents? Oh, I wish I would have caught him doing that. You think I was going to have let's have a discussion over a bologna sandwich. Like, get the hell out of here. Get off of my property.
So you haven't confirmed the report, but with Mexico's president saying that she rejects any of that, what would your response be? How is the relationship then between Mexico's president and the White House right now over targeting drug cartels?
Well, first of all, the relationship between President Sheinbaum and President Trump is quite good. And I think both world leaders would tell you that the president has been engaged directly with President Sheinbaum on a number of different topics, particularly when it comes to clamping down on the Mexican drug cartels, on clamping down on illegal immigration, human trafficking, drug trafficking through our southern border. She's taken significant steps towards doing that. But as for that specific report, again, I'm not going to comment.
Caroline, two questions on trade. First, as a part of these negotiations, is it possible for countries to lower their tariffs below that 10% bare minimum that's been set?
Again, I'll leave that to the president to make those determinations, but I can tell you that 10% universal baseline will go into effect as these negotiations are ongoing.
Got it. And then what is your thinking just as far as low labor cost countries? Like if you've got a country like Vietnam that wants to negotiate, but obviously they have some advantages in terms of trade, in terms of the people there are not paid as much as American citizens.
Oh my God. Look, peep this. I just peeped this. Look in the top corner. Look right here. There's going to be a zoom up of her, and the first thing I thought of was Tootsie.
I'll leave that to the president to make those determinations, but I can tell you that 10% universal baseline will go into effect as
he's asking the same question
and
that everybody else has been asking, but
just
look right up here.
Low labor cost countries, like if
Look
you've got
around you,
a country like Vietnam that wants to negotiate, but obviously they have some advantages in terms of trade, in terms of the people there are not paid as much as American citizens. What is kind of the thinking? Can they still achieve a good kind of trade outcome with the United States?
Well, again, you're right to point out that different countries have different labor markets. They have different skills, if you will, different resources, and the president is going to take all of that into account. His team will take all of that into account when they're negotiating these deals. I do just want to point out one thing, that the president, everybody in Washington, whether they want to admit it or not, knows that this president is right when it comes to tariffs and when it comes to trade. In fact, Democrats have long said that the United States of America has been ripped off by the countries around the world. They just don't want to admit it now because it's President Trump who is saying that. In June of 1996, Nancy Pelosi spoke on the House floor. She urged her colleagues at the time to fight against the status quo trade policies that had contributed to America's trade deficit with China.
Yes,
in fact, Nancy Pelosi said, how far does China have to go? How much more repression? How big a trade deficit? How many jobs have to be lost for the American workers? How much dangerous proliferation has to exist before members of this House of Representatives will say, I will not endorse the status quo? Those are the words of Nancy Pelosi in 1996. Well, President Trump is finally answering her call 27 years later. Nancy Pelosi can thank President Trump today for the 104% retaliatory tariff that will be going into effect on China. In 2007, Chuck Schumer spoke of our nation's crippling trade deficit, saying these are the kinds of records the American people don't want us to be breaking. The administration needs to move beyond words, take action now to reverse a trend that threatens our prospects for future economic growth. And Chuck Schumer said that in 2007. Finally, in 2025, President Trump is taking action. Recently defeated Democrat Sherrod Brown said on deficits in 2012 that our deficit then at China had reached an all-time high, and it was on pace to exceed last year's record. The trade deficit had cost American workers millions of jobs at the time. These are the words of Democrats years ago. It is about time America finally has a president who is taking action to restore those millions of jobs back to the United States of America, to boost our manufacturing industry. He's doing what's right for the American people. It will take a lot of labor. It will take a lot of effort. That's exactly what the American people elected this president to do. He will be talking about our energy agenda at 3 o'clock today over in the East Room. As you all know, he will be signing a bill to unleash the might of our beautiful, clean coal industry in this country, which is a reliable energy source also for AI. There's a great story in Bloomberg today, actually, about the executive order that will be signed later. So we'll see you all there. I'll let the president speak more. We'll see you later. Thanks, guys.
All right. You say, make them eat their words. Yeah, make them eat their words. I don't fly the red or blue flags. I treat both sides as means to an end. Right. That's why I'm like, I voted independent. I voted independent because, number one, I already knew. Sorry. All right. Number one, I already knew Trump was going to win the presidency. I mean, it was in the bag. Once he rolled out with put it like this, once they tried to shoot him and they missed, it was over. Then he rolled out with the garbage truck and, started making fun of him, the YMCA dance. Oh, please. It was a circus after that. It was a circus. It was a circus. Once they threw Kamala Harris in, it was over. Actually, the debate, it was over. But when they tried to shoot him, it was definitely over. So I voted for Jill Stein because she was the only candidate that had reparations on the bill. I knew she wasn't going to win. And, an idiot will tell you, well, you threw away your vote. No, I didn't. I voted for my interest. I'm surprised the 92 and 77% didn't vote for their interest. But as you can see, their interest is in symbolism and skin colors, not about finances. All right. Clearly. I think it was beautiful that more blacks, Latinos, and Asians that can vote literally voted. They switched and voted for Trump. More numbers voted for him. I mean, he was going to get it anyway. I mean, the dude won by an overwhelming margin. Look, as a matter of fact, let me see. Let's see here. See if I can find. Oh, here we go. I mean, this is the whole thing where they talking about they don't want voter ID. But, look at this. These are the states. They say these are the states where she won. No voter ID in these states. This is where a lot of illegals were voting. And then you get a moron like, what is that fat chick that ran to Ireland? I can't even think of her name. No, not Roseanne Barr. She's a Trump supporter. The other chick who ran to Ireland talking about I think Trump cheated. Like, really? Like, you really want to look into who cheated and who didn't? No, not Stacey Abrams. The fat white chick that used to be on The View. Oh my God, I can't even. I mean, she's so Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah, Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah, and then of course now, this is what I like. This is what the Republicans are pushing. They're quietly pushing this. Yeah, Rosie O'Donnell. They quietly pushing this. It's reverse psychology. Don't let Trump cheat. Demand voter ID and paper ballots, because they know people are so stupid. The left is so stupid. That's why I call them liquids, low IQ Democrats. You push this out. Oh, they'll spread this like wildfire. So then when it comes up to vote for, voter ID and paper ballots, I don't want Trump to cheat. He's lying. We're going to vote for this. We're going to cut off our nose to spite our face. Oh my God. It's hilarious. It is hilarious. Let me see what else. Oh yeah, y'all know old girl. We got another one that bit the dust. Another one bit the dust. She got sentenced. She got sentenced to a year in jail for stealing taxpayer money up there in Massachusetts. This is another one of them dumb little race hustlers up there. She's just like Ilhan Omar, a foreigner who somehow got elected into a government position. She doing all of that race hustling and cussing just like Jasmine Crockett. And this is the chick, this is the one that was exchanging the money in the bathroom. She hired her brother, then her sister, and they're exchanging, they're giving her the kickback money in the bathroom. Yeah, you say like feeding fish in an aquarium again. Scary dumb. Yeah, they got her. She got sentenced to a year in prison. Not jail, but a year in prison. Yeah, she gone. She gone. She gone. Yeah, they falling, they dropping like flies. They are dropping like flies. It's a beautiful thing. But at any rate, y'all. All right, so let's get out of here. Yeah, I'll get back on the weekly schedule. We'll see how my schedule looks next week. I got some things to do, but we'll see. Y'all be safe.
Okay, I believe that is an L. It is, in fact, an L. So these 6 hours ago, I couldn't even read a stop sign. All right, test me again. I want to go smaller. Smaller. All right.
Great work, Rob. Great work. See if you can read this. You're fired. And in case your ears are fucked, get the fuck out! And the next person I see juggling, tap dancing, or baton twirling, or doing any other circus-like tricks will join him, all right? One strike policy applies. Now get back to work. Ah, damn, that felt good.